The question that I raised in the last video was, what was beauty for, right? This is what I think, right? That now the scientists, they tell us that beauty is symmetry, it's a signal about biological integrity, that beauty is how we the organism signals to the outside world that it is deserving of our attention. The reason beauty is so interesting to me is that wherever we see beauty in biology, it's a trap, right? You know, because beauty wants something, right? For me, the question is what does beauty want? But I think that beauty is so what's the word I'm looking for? Beauty is so decadent, right? Beauty is so decadent that by the time it's through with us, we don't care anymore, right? All of us start, right? I should say I start off, right, at 14, and I turn around and I see this girl and I think to myself, this is the whole meaning of life, right? But why should that be, right? Why should that be? I think that beauty, right? Beauty works the same way that alcohol and opiates act on the mind, right? First, the man reaches out for something, and when he's taken hold of that thing, he discovers that that thing has taken hold of him, right? It's kind of like what Nietzsche said when he said that when the man stares into the abyss, that the abyss stares back into the man. And sometimes the abyss, it sees with greater clarity than the man. I think that beauty just engulfs us, right? Like phagocytosis, right? You think that you're taking this thing, but this thing is really taking you. It's really interesting to me because it's the only thing that I'm afraid of. Like, beauty is what terrifies me, Death isn't terrifying at all, ultimately. But beauty is terrifying. You know why? Here's why beauty is terrifying. Because the beautiful has the power to seize a man's awareness and not let go of it. And that's a terrifying power to have, right? Imagine something, it's kind of like hypnosis, right? My dad is terrified of hypnotists. Well, he's not terrified of them, but he thinks it's dangerous, and I agree with him because I think that it's a very dangerous thing to revert to that state before anything that is capable of error, right? Which is to say, man who is capable of error should not be handed another man completely disarmed. And that's what hypnosis does. And that is, beauty does the same thing, right? Beauty does the same thing. I feel like when a man stares at something that is beautiful, what he doesn't know is that he's hypnotized, right? Is that his whole consciousness has become hijacked by this thing that is outside of him. When I was growing up, I grew up with three sisters, and you know, so I grew up surrounded by this desire in women to be beautiful, right? The painting of the nails and the painting of the face, and the hairdo and the styling and the dresses and all that. And I remember, right, feeling like as a man that I had strength, and that strength was more important than beauty. It took me a long time to discover that strength is no match for beauty, because beauty can act at distance, and strength requires proximity, right? When Paris sees Helen, right, the venom of Helen is already inside of Paris's blood. For strength to overpower beauty, it needs to expend energy, right? So the pathway of strength is far less efficient than the pathway of beauty. That is to say, if the Indians are right, the next time I come around, I want to be a woman because I want to know what it's like to take a man's soul from a distance, to take a man's consciousness a distance, even before he knows it. I feel like if I were a very sophisticated woman, right, I could look at a man long before he sees me, and I could predict his future. Because I think that inside of man, right, and I'm not just talking about like man as man qua man, I'm just talking about humanity. Inside of humanity, right, is a listener, right? So in software development, you can, in software, you can set a trigger, right? That is why when you click on a link on the internet, something happens because that thing was listening. It was a trap, right? The button that you clicked on, it was a trap. And that trap is spraying something on you. It can be an advertisement. It could be anything, right? I think that inside of man, right, there are these listeners that are there, right? Kind of like, the classic lock and key system that enzymes and catalysts and hormones work through, right? And the reason I think that beauty is more dangerous, more potent than strength is that beauty is like light. It can travel through vacuum, but strength cannot because strength demands gravity. And where we're headed, there's no gravity, and so beauty wins. That's why woman always wins, right? Because biologically, woman has to be more sophisticated than man, right? So I think that in and again, this is speculative philosophy, right? All of this is garbage. I hope some of it isn't. But what is interesting to me, again, about beauty is its power to hijack attention, because ultimately the man's safety is his attention, right? The man's safety is his attention. That's all you've got. All of us in navigating the world, right? From the dangers of prehistoric time, which was, the rattlesnake, or, the venomous serpent, or, the lion who could jump at you from the jungle. The only thing you had in your defense was your awareness. And here comes this thing that has the ability to hijack awareness, which is to say beauty has the power to completely disarm a man. That's a staggering power, So I say all this because I see how naive I was about beauty when I was growing up, right? I thought I could take the beautiful for myself. And I think that men do not know what we do when we desire beauty. We're desiring our own annihilation. And we know this because when we look at the lower animals, right, we see the same thing at play there. So there's, many species of insects, right, where the female devours the male after copulation, right? Schopenhauer says that right after copulation, men can hear the devil's laughter, right? You gotta love the Germans. But what has just happened is that male spider, it was just trying to get laid, right? And then it gets its head bit off, right? You can see videos of this on YouTube, right? Because the female is hungry and beauty is expensive, right? What was it Beyonce said? If you really want it, then you should have put a ring on it, something like that. That's how you put a ring on it. Sometimes the ring is made from the fibers of your heart muscle. So I think that I think that we all need to rethink about how we approach, because the thing that's really interesting to me is that I am trying to see more, right? I'm trying to see more. And everywhere I turn, my my vision, right? And all my senses of perception can travel until they hit beauty, and then they stop, right? Beauty has this capacity to say, I am everything you want, right? And I'm trying to see whether I can insist that I still want more. That in spite of what beauty is, that I want more. But I don't think that it's not just me. I don't think that anybody has the capacity to get beyond beauty, right? What is beauty hiding from us? That's what I'm interested in. I'm really interested in what beauty is hiding from us, right? Like, why is beauty such an extraordinary price, right? That once it's won, it's everything. I mean, come on, man. Like, look at the world, right? A man gave up the British crown for a woman's beauty, right? The British crown. That was like the world, right? So beauty is extraordinary. Beauty is extraordinary, not just in itself, which is to say the impact that it has on our experience, but it's extraordinary in how it shapes the very survival of the organism. The very survival of the organism, right? Whenever I see anything that's beautiful, I'm very cautious because I know that biologically, beauty is the ultimate Trojan horse, right? You take it into your city, and at night, soldiers, armies crawl out of it and lay everything in its path to waste. That, that is beauty. But when the man, right, like a tree around which a vine is beginning to grow, observes how soft and lithe and limber the vine is, he imagines that he's in control. He doesn't know all beauty needs is attention. And once beauty gets attention, it now decides what it does with it, right? So in one of the Japanese martial arts, there's this concept, right, that it's very inefficient to attack your opponent. And so the whole art, I think it's Aikido, the whole art is about using the opponent's force, right? You use the anger and the aggression of your opponent, right? So all of your energy is conserved. So instead of you, right, tensing up muscle and striking out, you wait until your opponent tenses muscle, strikes out, and you take that energy and you turn it into your force, right? I feel like that's what beauty does to us. Is that beauty doesn't waste anything at all. It just waits until awareness is captured, and then it has all the energy in the world, right? Beauty is like toxoplasmosis gondii, right? You know, I mean, like, it's wild to me that the most intelligent thing that we have found in the world is a nucleic acid. I mean, why should that be, right? A nucleic acid. It's nothing. And yet, it hijacks the brain of a mouse and hijacks the body of a cat to reproduce itself. Even get into a man. Nucleic acid. A string of letters. A string of amino acids. I'm interested in beauty because as an artist, it is It is the thing that I'm always reaching up for. It is this thing that I'm always exalting towards. And every once in a while, I wonder if beauty is just the flame that this dumb moth is flying at.